I'm doing now is working her down with the 80 grit on the sander. Trying to smooth out my transition areas, any rough spots. Smoother I get it now, the easier it'll be to get a smooth finish with my primer. And the secret to it is getting a smooth layup. The smoother your layup is, the less sanding you have to do, and sand is what it's all about. You can't get a smooth finish without sanding. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm sanding. I'm going to try to get it smooth enough where I only have to do one double coat application of the primer without having to excessively sand the primer and then recoat, because I'm not going to have the weather for it. In these areas where I'm going to do non-skid is pretty forgiving about rough areas. And it's also less glare reflective. That's why all my upper decks, and any place where I might actually go, is going to get the non-skid. So any of my horizontal surfaces where it might glare. Very important when you're sanding this stuff, wear a good respirator. Little dust masks do work, but they're not near as good as a respirator. It's not really toxic once it cures, but it's bad dust. You don't want to breathe it. It's terrible stuff. And the fibers from the glass are very itchy. That's why the less grinding in the boat yard, we used to lay up a bunch of polyester and glass and then grind the heck out of it. Boy, did we itch. Because the dust from the glass itself is very itchy. The resin's not so bad, but you want to keep it off of you. And one thing I want to mention about the resin is pretty toxic stuff when it's mixed, and a lot of people are highly allergic to it. I've been lucky, I'm not really sensitized to it. I wear gloves, and occasionally you do get it on, you want to take it off really quick. I use lacquer thinner. I don't like acetone because they say it can carry it into the pores of your skin. Just use a little lacquer thinner and then soap and water, get it off of you real quick. They say that once you're sensitized to it, you can't work with it anymore. Like I say, I've been lucky, and some people it affects worse than others, but mainly you just want to work clean. Take your time. Of course, you don't have much of it because the stuff's going off, but keep the stuff off your skin, and try not to breathe the vapor. The sanding is just miserable dust. So anyway, back to sanding. I got a lot of it to do. I'm going to go over this whole thing, get it as smooth as I can now, and get it ready for the two-part primer. It's going on today because we're going to get cold. This might be the last day I have, but tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and I am thankful that I got this far with this boat. She's all glass. Today it'll be primer, and she'll be ready to take the winter, and I'll be ready to go with my paint in the springtime. These areas where I can't get in with the sander, I could get in some of this I will get in with the sander. I'm working them down by hand with the 80 grit. If I had some 60 grit, I'd probably use it, but I don't. All they had in the store was 80, but that'll work. So I'm smoothing out this transition area and these places where I added these patches where I had bubbles. So I'm smoothing them out and just working it down. It's not easy and it's not much fun, but when you see the results, it's worth it. That's the only way you're going to get it smooth. I've sanded her as much as I'm going to. It didn't come out quite as smooth as I wanted to, so I'm not going to try to go for the non-skid and everything at this point in time. This is probably the last warm day we might have for a while, but mainly I'll get a double coat of the two-part epoxy primer on. I'm within my 72-hour chemical bond window. You have 72 hours from your last coat to get your next coat of epoxy on and still get a chemical bond. After that, then you have to sand it, and then you get a mechanical bond, which epoxy holds really well, but I like to get the chemical bond. And this way, I'll have my primer on, a high build primer, And it's not as smooth as I want it yet, but that'll come later. I can spend all winter taking a section at a time, sanding it down until she comes out smooth, sand right down through the primer to the glass, and all the low spots will have primer, the high spots will take off, and then however smooth you want it, you keep doing that. More coats of primer, more sanding, and then you get it pretty smooth there, then put the last coat of primer on, sand it lightly, then you can start going with undercoat. Undercoat's pretty thick too, and you can just keep coating and sanding, and however smooth you want to get it. Like I say, I don't need to get it that smooth. If I was going for a yacht type finish for a rich guy, like we used to have to do in the boatyard, then I would. I'd keep priming and sanding until it came out smooth. But this is an expedition vessel for a hillbilly. This is good enough. So anyway, this is what I use. There's a lot of good epoxy primers out. This is Systems 3. Because I like it, because it's good stuff. I should ask them for a job. Anyway, it works really well. It's compatible with their resin. And one cool thing about it is it cleans up with water. And you can, if you need to thin it, like if you want to spray it, you can thin it with water. And I just really like it because it works good. And it's a 4-to-1, so I use 4 parts of the part B is the hardener, part A is resin. This stuff is kind of clear. Stir it really well. Stir the hardener, which is the gray stuff, really well. And then you let it set 15 minutes to get its start forming its chemical reaction, and then you just start smearing it on. So I'm going to get it mixed up and let it set for 15 minutes, and I'm going to start smearing it on. And then she'll be in a really good place where she could go through the winter, and I can work on other things, fittings, rigging. And occasionally if I feel like sanding, I'll come out here and sand on her. And then when I get warm weather again, I can start putting on more coatings. But at least she's glassed, she's sealed, and she's stabilized. And that's really what I was after, and that's what I'm very thankful that I'm getting. And I use my old roll and smear method. Get some on with the roller and smear it with the brush. The first coat doesn't cover as well. You can see a lot of streaks. You see a lot of glass showing, but the second coat can really make a difference. Most of this is going to get sanded off, so you don't have to be too fancy with it. Mainly you want to get it on there. And everything blends all into one thing. It's really pretty exciting. Boat building is exciting, watching something take shape under your own hands. And then you get to go out on the water in it. That's really the good part. The building's fun too. It must be, because we can't seem to stop once we start building. So when you finish one boat, you start thinking about what you're going to build next. Look at that. It's laying on there nice. It's a lot faster. I'm just rolling that on. Well, that leaves a good finish. Second coat of primer's on, and it's looking pretty good. That second coat covers a lot better. I'm pretty happy.